Hey, welcome aboard. Getting ready for a wonderful weekend of college football. I hope everybody's excited about what we have going on. Not really some news to report. I mean, everything's going to happen today. Just going to do a quickie video. I did do some picks, though, with a former intern of mine, Anderson Dreyer. You're going to enjoy that. Anderson just graduated from the University of South Carolina, and he is now a producer at 98.9 in Charleston, South Carolina, and he also does some co-hosting. So he's really getting going with his career. But did some picks with him, and here they are. Have a great Saturday.
All right, it's finally game day. Week 4 of the college football season is here. We have 6 matchups of ranked opponents versus ranked opponents, plus some under-the-radar games. But we're not really going to dive into those too much. We're going to look at these ranked games. We're going to do our picks. And when I do picks, I like to bring somebody in. He was my intern in one variation of this show. He's still trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life, but he's actually pretty good about picking games. It's Anderson, my former intern. Anderson, well, you still look like an intern, but we'll get you there. You'll grow up someday. How are you? And are you ready for week 4?
Absolutely. I cannot wait. Obviously, this is the best week of games we've had all season. And honestly, with this amount of ranked matchups, it might be the best, one of the best weeks of the year. So I'm absolutely very excited for this weekend.
Okay, well, we're going to find out how much you know, because I know you live and breathe college football. So let's get rolling, and I'm going to get one into Palmetto State. This one crept up on me, Anderson. I cannot believe that I didn't realize until about 4 days ago that this game was this week. For some reason, my eye was off the ball. Number 4, Florida State, 2.5-point favorite at Death Valley at Clemson. I want your pick first, because this game could be absolutely seismic, not only for the ACC, but for the college football playoff.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. I'm going to go with the home dog Clemson. And I am a Gamecock alum. So it kind of pains me to say a little bit, but I think, Florida State, and when it comes to Clemson with Florida State, it's kind of, I need to see it to believe it first. Florida State is actually a lot better than I thought they were going to be this season. I thought LSU was going to run them out of the building, and Florida State was clearly the much better team on all facets of the game. So I definitely undervalued Florida State, but I think at home, Clemson always plays really well at home under Dabo. They had 40-something game winning streak there before the Palmetto Bowl last year, which was awesome for me. But, I'm going to go Clemson. I think, they lost to Duke. They really didn't get the bounce of ball in that game. They outgained Duke by, I think, over 100 yards. So, I mean, they're still sort of the same sort of Clemson-style teams we've seen throughout the years. I think Clemson is going to extend their streak. I'm taking the home dog outright.
Okay, you're taking a home dog outright. I'm going with the Seminoles on this one, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to go with Florida State for one reason, and you said it. It looks like Clemson teams of the past, and they haven't done anything to evolve.
Right.
They haven't done anything to evolve. I think Florida State by far has a better passing game, looking just absolutely phenomenal at quarterback. Help me with the name. I'm blanking on the quarterback. Travis. Yes, Jordan Travis. And number three, I think the Boston College game was a good wake-up call for Florida State. They're realizing that, they are good, but they still have to compete. And I know those are special circumstances at Boston College. It was the red bandana game and all that. Still not a good look. I think they'll come out and make a statement because they smell blood in Tallahassee. Okay, are you writing these down, by the way? You got pen and paper? You have failed as an intern, and you continue to fail as an intern. I'll handle it later.
Yeah, I got my pages up, so I'm typing out the answers here.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah, how did you get through? I forgot you're an alum now.
Yeah.
Troubling. Okay, a lot of eyeballs on this game. Number 19, Colorado at number 10, Oregon. The Ducks, 20.5-point favorites. It's a 3:30 kickoff on ABC. We'll talk about something else in a moment about the TV window for that. I'm wondering if this is where Colorado gets exposed. I mean, obviously a 20.5-point underdog. That's very telling. Colorado should have, if we're going roster to roster, you would think Colorado would have dominated Colorado State, especially being at home last week, but it looked anything but the alpha in that in-state matchup. I think this is the game where Colorado is brought back down to earth, still better than last year. Make no mistake about that. And on the field, off the field, it's a wonderful product, and it's only going to continue to grow. But I think this is the game that Colorado starts realizing, we're not playing a down TCU team. We're not playing a Nebraska team with first-year coach Matt Rule and this darn short in Colorado State. I think Colorado gets humbled, and I think Oregon covers the spread.
Interesting. Yeah, it is. Oregon is certainly by far and away the best team that Colorado has seen this year. It's also on the road at Oregon. I think it's very interesting that this is pretty much the same line that we saw week 1 against TCU, which was also a road game. I'm actually going to take the points. I know it really, really hurts them to not have Travis Hunter on the field. You can argue he's the best player on either team. But if there's one thing we've learned about Colorado, they're going to be ready to fight. They're not going to back down at all. I'm not sure if this comes as backdoor, but I'm going to take Colorado in the points. I am also very high on Oregon, though. I know they're very good. I actually picked Bo Nix to win the Heisman before the season. But I just think 3 touchdowns or almost 3 touchdowns is a whole lot of points for Colorado. They're not backing down from anybody. I'm just going to take the points. I think it's too many.
Okay, I'm liking you there, Anderson, my former intern. Number 22, UCLA. At number 11, Utah. The Utes, 4.5-point favorites. Another 3:30 kickoff. This one is going to be on Fox. I love Chip Kelly. I love UCLA. Probably the best uniform in all of college football, and I'm a uniform guy. And we used to have this debate a lot. UCLA won, Ole Miss Powder Blues 1A, and it would be dependent upon which helmet Ole Miss would wear. I really like the Utes. It's almost 2 totally different styles of play. Utah has been tested. I think that physical at home, Kyle Whittingham, the most underrated coach in America. Give me the Utes. Cover the spread, 4.5.
I'm with you here. Do you know anything about Rising? He's still questionable, isn't he?
Yeah, that was the last thing I saw.
Okay, yeah. I agree with you. I mean, they're pretty mangled all across the board when it comes to injuries, but I do agree with you with a lot of what you said. It's at home. Kyle Whittingham is one of the most underrated, one of the best coaches in the country, and he's been proving that for over 20 years now. The defense at home. UCLA's got a new quarterback. It's not DTR anymore. I'm going to take the Utes at home. What'd you say we're giving, 3.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give the 3.5 points. I think Utah covers.
You're a very confident young man with that one, Anderson.
I do like that. And I agree. I like Chip Kelly a lot, dating back to when he pretty much revolutionized the game at Oregon. But, it's just Utah's so disciplined. That defense is really tough. I think
at home.
And at home, yeah.
Okay, and we're going to start speeding these up a little bit. Oregon State -3, number 14 in the country. At number 21, Washington State. The last 2 standing in the Pac-12 going forward after this season at 7 o'clock kickoff on Fox. We talk about DJU, transfer from Clemson, looked absolutely fantastic the first couple of games he's played in. He looked like the quarterback we expected him to be. And the more and more I think about it, the system was a bad marriage. The environment and the culture was a bad marriage. A guy coming from the West Coast, planted down in Clemson, South Carolina, where you're following Kelly Bryant, you're following Deshaun Watson, you're following Trevor Lawrence, and you got Cade Klubnik waiting in the wings. His biggest deficiency wasn't his arm or his feet. It was between his ears. Not that he's stupid by any stretch of the imagination, but he's just not built for that environment. But he's not the X factor in this game. They have a running back at Oregon State named Damian Martinez, who last year I want to say he averaged 6.5 yards a carry or something ridiculous. I'm just pulling numbers out of my nether regions, but it's something astonishing like that. I think Oregon State's ability to run the football and to leverage Damian Martinez, the difference in this game. Give me the Beavers. Cover the spread, -3.
I'm with you. I'm on the Beavers. Jonathan Smith has done such a great job at Oregon State. They've just gotten consistently better and better and better each year. DJU, obviously the run game, very good. I also think we're a year early on Washington State. I pegged Wisconsin to be a little bit overrated, at least entering the season, because it was such a drastic shift offensively. They just were not set up for what Phil Longo and Tanner Mordecai were used to across the board on offense. And so Washington State, pulled off that upset, and now they're ranked and all that. But I think we're a little early there. Oregon State's kind of been there before. They finished with 10 wins last year. So I'm going with Oregon State here. I think they cover as well.
Phil Longo, he is at UNC now? No, he left UNC.
For Wisconsin, yeah.
Wisconsin, that's right. And he's with Luke Fickell. They're having the air raid in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's
right. Which I think is going to be absolutely revolutionary. I think it is going to change Big Ten football because you're having to spend, and we're chasing rabbits here, you're having to spend an entire week practicing for one offense. It's no different than the triple option, except you can get athletes who want to play it. And I think the Big Ten, it's going to be transformative for the Big Ten. Give it 2 years, you're going to see more teams in that conference doing it. Mark my words.
I'm with you there. Absolutely. And I love Longo at UNC as well. He's a great coach.
Number 24, Iowa. At number 7, Penn State. Nittany Lions, 14.5-point favorites, 7:30 kickoff CBS. Iowa scored 40 plus the other day.
They did.
So the Brian Ferentz watch is cooling off a little bit. He's got a little bit of a cushion. Remember, he has to average 25 points a game to keep his job. I've never seen anything quite like it. But that being said, I don't see Iowa getting past double digits, past 10 points against Nittany Lions. Give me Penn State. Give me Penn State minus 14.5 to cover.
I'm with you as well. Penn State's actually 3-0 against the spread. And, you hear some people calling it a little bit Bush League, the way that they covered against West Virginia week 1, but doesn't matter. They're still 3-0 against the spread. It's also a whiteout game. Iowa, they're going to struggle with that, especially on the offensive side of the football, which is obviously where they've had deficiencies for many, many years now. I agree with you. I don't think Iowa's going to score very many. If they get to 10, if they get to double digits, I'll be pretty surprised. Give me Penn State, given 14.5.
All right, Anderson, my former intern, bringing it with confidence. Okay, the last one. Not next to last one. I'm sorry. We've got one that we've got to chop up for a few minutes. Number 6, Ohio State, 3-point favorite under the Golden Dome, 7:30 kickoff NBC against Notre Dame. I still don't know what to make of Notre Dame. I know Charleston native Sam Hartman, Wake Forest transfer Sam Hartman. He looks pretty darn good so far, not getting nearly enough publicity or consideration for the Heisman Trophy, but that's probably smart. I mean, we're just now heading into October. That being said, I've gotten to see a little bit of Ohio State. It looks like a typical Ohio State team, explosive offense. Marvin Harrison Jr., rocket in his rear end, took off the other day. I think the quarterback, they finally settled in on the quarterback, Kyle McCord. That's the one I think they finally settled on. At Notre Dame, 3 points. I'm going to take the Irish in an upset just by virtue of the Marcus Freeman defense.
I'm with you. I think Notre Dame covers, and I think they win outright. Ohio State, the only difference between this and some previous Ohio State teams is an unproven quarterback. They've been a little bit shaky there. I think this is kind of similar to last year's Notre Dame-Clemson game. I think the line was very similar to this. It was also in South Bend, and Notre Dame blew the doors off of Clemson. Notre Dame's a lot more experienced, especially with Sam Hartman versus Kyle McCord specifically. But you said it, the defense, Notre Dame's defense, very talented, very solid. Marcus Freeman, a wizard on defense. I'm going to go Notre Dame outright.
I like it. And our last one, and this is the one everybody's buzzing about this week. It's a number 15 team versus number 13 team. Ole Miss at Alabama. Crimson Tide 7-point favorite, 3:30 kickoff on CBS. The coveted 3:30 kickoff CBS for the SEC, at least for one more year. There's so many storylines to this game. Is this the beginning of the end for the Nick Saban dynasty? Is it Lane Kiffin's year? Just so many different things we can look at. Did he make a mistake with Tommy Rees as the offensive coordinator, bringing in Kevin Steele for the 8 billionth time to run the defense, so on and so forth? I'm of this belief, Anderson, and I want to take my fanboy hat off here because I love me some Joey Freshwater. And I think Ole Miss has something that Alabama does not, that being an elite quarterback. Jackson Dart is an elite quarterback, and you can look in that quarterback room. It's absolutely fantastic. Spencer Sanders, Mike Gundy right now wouldn't be running 3 quarterbacks if he didn't decide to go fight for the fighting Joey Freshwaters. But I am of the belief that Alabama, I don't want to say sandbagging against South Florida, but I think, and I discussed this with Peter Burns of SEC Network, I think that they know what they have in their locker room. They know what they have with Jalen Milroe. They wanted to see what they have with the other 2 guys. And that way they can, because they were only like 1 foot in with Jalen Milroe. And they were still some trepidation. Do we go with the kid from Notre Dame? Do we go with the other kid? Now they know. Now they can put all their chips into the Jalen Milroe pool and say, that's our guy going forward. And player to player, position to position, Alabama, in my estimation, still a better football team than Ole Miss. And there's always that factor of Lane Kiffin wanting to be the nuisance and get into Nick Saban's head. But you can't do it. Nick Saban cannot. You can't play a Jedi mind trick on Nick Saban. Give me the Alabama Crimson Tide and give me the cover to 7 points.
It's interesting, and you mentioned it. The quarterback thing last week. I was wondering, and I'm just throwing this out there. I was wondering if there was kind of a difference of opinions in the locker room. Maybe I think Nick Saban might have liked Milroe more, and maybe Tommy Rees liked his guy. And Buckner. And, Nick Saban said, we're at South Florida. Okay, let's throw out Tyler Buckner. And it obviously completely backfired. Buckner looked, really, really pretty poor. And so they're sticking with Milroe for the rest of the year. The thing about Alabama is the defense just does not seem to be there yet. You mentioned Kevin Steele's back for, the umpteenth time. He's been everywhere, it seems. But, Texas sort of really exposed them, especially in the pass game. I think Quinn Ewers averaged like almost 10 yards per attempt throwing the ball and sort of maybe even laid a little bit of a blueprint for what Ole Miss needs to do, or at least needs to try to do. And you can never count Lane Kiffin out when it comes to scoring points. I think they're going to put points up, and Alabama keep up with them. I'm not going to pick Ole Miss outright, but I do think that they cover the 7 points.
Here's something to consider. Tommy Rees comes to be the offensive coordinator. He brings Buckner in tow with him. Are they running the Tommy Rees offense, or are they running an Alabama offense that Tommy Rees has had to learn? So he's not bringing off-the-shelf offense with the quarterback from Notre Dame, and they already know all the verbiage and everything like that, because Buckner looks so out of his element that and to have the same offensive coordinator that it's striking. Right. How uncomfortable he looks. And so I'm wondering how much of the offense is that offense they had at Notre Dame last year, and how much of it is something that Nick Saban insists upon having that is institutional, that you cannot change, you have to run this. Is he trying to make him run the Bryce Young offense? Is he trying to make him run the Tua offense? I haven't paid enough attention to it, and that's a question I need to be asking, but I'm wondering if that, or maybe it is the same offense, but maybe Saban has insisted they do change the verbiage to Alabama verbiage so that Buckner has that split second of hesitation thinking, okay, does this actually mean this still? Oh, wait, it means that. Oh, God.
Right.
A lot of different factors to consider. Okay, Anderson, I will go back. I will check out our picks. But before I let you go, and you did a good job. You got your little Gamecocks pennant up there like Richie Cunningham. Yeah. I didn't know they still made pennants. You don't even know who Richie Cunningham is, but that's okay. My favorite event in sports other than college football as a season is next week, the Ryder Cup, Team USA versus Team Europe, just outside of Rome, Italy. Ever been to Rome?
I have not. Actually, one of my best friends, though, he went to Germany for Oktoberfest, and he figured out, I don't know how this is possible, but he figured out if he flies home from Rome that weekend, it's actually cheaper than flying out of Germany. So he's taking an extra weekend after Oktoberfest, and he's going to be at the Ryder Cup. So I'm certainly going to get him to I know. Yeah.
Well, you have to think that Oktoberfest is going to draw more people than a Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And Rome Airport, I mean, he's flying out of Munich, I presume, is what he was looking at.
Yeah.
So I've been to Rome a couple of times. That airport, not the airport, the road to the airport it's not for the faint of heart. I'll just say that. Italian drivers are bold. Anyway, who do you like in the Ryder Cup?
I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to pick against the Americans. I know that we're favored. So I'm going to go with the hometown boys. Obviously a couple controversial picks when it comes to the Americans, but got to stick with our boys here. So I'm going USA.
That is pretty tepid.
I know. Yeah, I'm not.
I've been to 4 Ryder Cups, and the U.S. was favored in all 4 of those Ryder Cups, and they won 1. No, I take it back. The one at Valhalla outside of Louisville, they might not have been the favorite in that one, and they did win it. And that was the Nick Faldo was captaining versus Azinger, and Azinger came up with the pod system. That was when Boo Weekley was riding his driver down the fairway and all that in 2008. the Ryder Cup, even if you're not a golf fan, you appreciate it because it's international competition, it's team competition, and it's not for money.
Right.
They get a small stipend now after they bitched and griped and moaned, but it's not for money. And there have actually been players who have complained about, I don't want to play. That I cannot wrap my mind around that. Not wanting to play in the Ryder Cup. Even Brooks Koepka, the ultimate, isolationist, the ultimate one-man army mercenary. He embraces it. And he's actually a good locker room guy as well. I'm happy that Patrick Reed didn't make it. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. I just don't like Patrick Reed whatsoever. I have thoughts on that. I'll keep to myself. The JT pick I'm okay with because he's all in and he'll take whatever role they want him to have. He also has incredible chemistry with Jordan Spieth. He has incredible chemistry with Ricky Fowler. God bless the golfing gods for giving us back Ricky Fowler. I'm hopeful for a U.S. win, but again, I wrote a column once saying that the U.S. they arrive in 12 players? 12, they arrive, I'm getting old. They arrive in individual 12 different, limos or whatever, and the Europeans come in one bus. They're just made for that. They're just better at it. I look at a guy like Colin Montgomery, never won a major championship, absolute smoked the U.S. in the Ryder Cup. Sergio got him a Masters win, but Sergio in a Ryder Cup, absolute killer. Are we built like that? Maybe JT's the only guy. You look at JT's record. Have you looked at JT's record? It's stupid good.
Yeah, you're right. And did you go to the one at Kiowa in, what was it, 91, I think?
No, God, man, I was in high school. Come on, bro.
Not that old, I guess, then.
Oh, man, that was actually the year I graduated high school. I'll go ahead and date myself. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's a good time.
No, it's not awesome. No, it was awful. We had the Gulf War. The first Gulf War was wrapping up. Didn't have a cell phone. I wore really ugly warm-up suits. I had a flat top. I'll show you a picture sometime. That was, though, a friend of mine actually wrote the book about the war on the shore. And that was a transformative year in Ryder Cup history. The Ryder Cup has such a great history. You look at allowing the mainland Europeans to play, because it used to just be the United Kingdom, and the whole narrative around that changed when around 1980, I believe, when they started, and that brought in the Spanish Armada with Seve Ballesteros and Jose Maria Olazabal. Just wonderful, and it baffles me to no end. And then I'll let you go because I'm sure you got to go get ready for a Katy Perry concert or something. It baffles me to no end why the President's Cup. Why can't the President's Cup get that kind of steam, especially since it has the backing of the PGA Tour, which basically drives everything. The PGA Tour drives everything. They are the ones who stuck the playoff down our throat to the point that now we embrace it. They keep trying year in and year out to make the Players' Championship the mythical fifth major, and now we kind of look at it like that. Why hasn't the President's Cup taken hold? I can't wrap my mind around it.
That is, I don't have.
Do you watch it? Do you watch the President's Cup?
It's not appointment television for me, but one of those things that I have it on when I'm able to have it on. But,
do you hate Australians or Canadians? That's why. They have the players.
Yeah,
it's the whole world except for Europe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I think it should be. I don't know if it's probably not a marketing thing. Maybe it is, but it really is an event that should be a lot bigger than it is.
I agree. He's Anderson, my former intern. Anderson, I want to bring you back regularly. Real quick, tell us what's going on in your world, and tell us what's going to have your attention week 4 college football.
Basically everything this week. We've got a great noon window, especially starting with Clemson and Florida State in my home state here. But back to what I do. I'm in Charleston right now. I work at ESPN Radio. I'm producer and co-host of our 3 to 6 live show, Fan Talk with Bobby Harton. Anyway, I digress. The noon window is awesome. 3:30, obviously, you got the big ticket item in a way, I guess, Colorado, Oregon. And then at night, that's the real big ticket item, Ohio State at Notre Dame. And then other games sprinkled out. It's just, every window has good games. It's going to be a great weekend for college football.
3:30 is stupid good, and I brought it in at the beginning of this show, and didn't really dive into it like I wanted to. Ole Miss, Alabama, 3:30 CBS. You have the Utah UCLA game, 3:30 on Fox, and also 3:30 ABC, Colorado, Oregon. Wow,
what a window!
Wow,
what a window.
I'm wondering how the audience splinters though. That'll be something maybe we can look at next week. I'll get ratings and we'll see how it's kind of like a presidential election when you have that third party candidate and they suck somebody else out and it makes the guy who shouldn't have won win.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm
That's right.
getting deep.
Especially real quick, especially since that Colorado State game last week. Almost
2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. It was so late. Still almost set records, and that was just against Colorado State. So, CBS might really have to fight for some viewers, going up against Colorado, Oregon.
If the best thing that could happen is for one network is to have another network get a blowout.
Right.
For Alabama, get a 30-point lead on Ole Miss.
Yeah.
For Utah, just pummel UCLA, and then people are going to gravitate to Colorado anyhow. The curiosity factor is worth 2 ratings points in and of itself. Anderson, appreciate you hopping on, brother. I'll chat with you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott.